Most people ruin their kipping pull-up by the time they've got to their second rep. So if you feel like you're madly swinging around on the rig or fighting for your life trying to get each rep, let me show you exactly how to master this skill. I've coached hundreds of athletes to get this skill, and today I'm going to break down the exact drills that I use to coach each of these athletes and address the most common faults that I see so that you too can do this movement with control and efficiency. Let's fix your positioning and watch your kipping pull-ups become effortless instead of feeling like you are flopping around like a fish out of water. Alrighty, let's get stuck straight into it then. So if you've been here before, you will know I always talk about related strength first. For your pull-up, this is predominantly an upper body movement. It's going to use a lot of work with your lats, so muscles on the back when you're doing the pull-up component, but it's also very heavily on the arms as well. So biceps and triceps in general. And then we need a good degree of core strength for any type of gymnastics movement. With the kipping pull-up in particular, you spend 90% of the time in a hollow position. So your body needs to be competent at holding a strong hollow shape and being able to control that through your core so that as you're moving up to the bar and away from the bar, that you can maintain that position. So our three big movements or muscle groups will be our lats, our arms in general, and then our core. So let's work through each of these movements now, and I will tell you the main strength pieces I would be given to my athletes to develop each of these areas. So lat strength, the big one is going to be your pull-ups. You don't have to do this with a band. If you're able to do pull-ups without a band, then obviously that is completely fine. I actually like, if athletes can do pull-ups without a band, to do a mix of the two. So to do some sets in the week unbanded and then some sets with a band. And likewise, if an athlete can't do pull-ups without a band yet, doing some sets of very low volume with the lightest band that they can do for 1 to 3 reps, so a very heavy type of pull-up, and then doing a higher volume with a thicker band where it's easier. So it's good when you're doing pull-up strength to always have a balance of heavy and little reps and then voluminous and easier reps. And what that means for you will just depend on your pull-up capacity. When we're prepping for kipping pull-ups, it's also good to try and hold this hollow body position during your pulling movements. Like I said before, the majority of the kipping pull-up is holding a hollow position. So if you can do pull-ups without a band, but they're maybe not perfect yet, add a band in so that you can practice being in this dish shape as you're going up and as you're going down. Another good one that's easy to do is a lat pull down. I'm using a cable machine just because my gym has one. If your gym doesn't, that's totally fine. You can do this very easily by looping a band around the top of the rig and pulling down on that. You can either just literally hold on to the band, or if you want to, you can put a PVC pipe in and hold on like this, which makes it a little bit more replicable of this machine. And then finally, this is probably my favorite accessory for pull-ups. This is also a great accessory if you're working on butterflies as well. It's called a back wing hold. So in this position, you're going to row the dumbbells up towards your shoulders, and at the same time, you're going to lift your legs. So this is good because it's lats, but it's also arms, and it's also a bit of back, and it's also some hammies and glutes. So it's full body, but it's very applicable to the shapes that you need in the pull-up. Okie dokie. So moving on to arms in general, and there's a lot of crossover here because a lot of these movements do use your lats as well. But just for a little bit of variance, chin-ups are really good. This is a pull-up variation that isolates the biceps, and biceps are a huge movement within our kipping pull-up. They need to be as strong as possible. Also, just doing things like bicep curls with a barbell is really, really good for developing kipping pull-up strength. Same kind of thing here. When you're doing any type of pull-up, whether it's a chin-up or not, it's good to do a variation of reps. So some reps where you can only do 1, 2, or 3 with either just your body weight, adding a weight, or a very light band, and then add a band or a thicker band so that you can do higher volume sets as well. It's really good to do both ends of the spectrum. Any type of row is going to be awesome for your kipping pull-ups. I've got a video here of a wide grip bent over row. You can do a regular bent over row. You can do a Yates row where you spin your arms up the other way. Any variation of rowing is going to be helpful. And this is another variation where we're sat on the floor. Again, I'm using a cable machine because my gym has one, and if yours does, definitely use it because they're awesome. But you can just as easily do this with a band loops around the low part of a rig. Okie dokie. Moving on to core strength. As I said, your core is very important for all gymnastics, and the reason it's important in a kipping pull-up is because you have to move through the most of the movement holding a hollow position, which I'll explain to you in a second, but this is going to be your hollow rock. Looks easy until you try them, and then you realize they're actually quite hard. If you're new to hollow rocks, you can also bend one knee in. If you find that this movement is too difficult to maintain or it's hurting your back, you can also bend both knees in as well. I think you got to a really good stage in hollow rocks when you can do 30 reps of these. GHDs, awesome for all gymnastics movements. If you can't do a full GHD, then a half GHD is fine, where you stop at halfway. Or if you can't do a half GHD, just doing holds where you lean back as far as you can, hold for 20 to 30 seconds, and then come back up. And that can be done kind of on an angle here, so not too far back at all. And then seal walks. This one is really good for tension through the entire body. The idea here is that you keep your hips down in line with the rest of your body, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your hammies, squeeze your core, and you're staying in a really tight body position throughout the walk. So with your strength movements, what should you be doing in terms of time per week? However long you're spending on your kipping pull-up, half of the time I would advise spending on your strength-related work. So all of these things I've just spoken about, and half of the time spend on your drills. So if you're working in your kipping pull-up one session a week, split it half-half between these two things. If you're doing 2 sessions a week, you could do 1 session of one and 1 session of the other, but you want 50% of your time on related strength. Okie dokie, this is going to be the biggest factor here, is maintaining and understanding the positional awareness for a kipping pull-up. It's actually really tricky to get right when you first learn it, because it requires you to hold that really tight hollow position whilst your body is moving through space from underneath the bar all the way to the top and then back underneath. There's actually a very small portion of this movement where you kick into an arch and you get a bit of relief from having to hold and move through that hollow position. And that is the thing that I find my athletes find the hardest. So I've come up with a whole sequence of drills that I'm going to run you through now, so you can practice being in the correct position without any tension or without minimal tension through your upper body. So in order for these drills to be successful, you just need to make sure you can do a box kip. So this is just to tick off so that you can actually do these drills and understand how you do a kip using a box. So you want a box set up so that you can reach the rig comfortably, and that the leg that's on the box can be used to help your body and take weight, but you don't want it too high because otherwise it's going to be really awkward. But then if it's too low, you won't be able to actually stand on the box properly for the next drill. So find that nice middle ground where you've got a leg that looks on a similar angle to mine, and just practice doing a kip swing, utilizing this standing leg to take the weight off your arms and practice nice tight positions. So in your kip swing, we want the bottom leg to be straight and it to move equally between an angle on the front and an angle on the back. And that front angle equals the back angle. So you don't want one swing to be bigger than the other. It needs to be even. And that is equally balanced through my shoulders. So my shoulders are moving the same distance in front and the same distance behind. And that is perfectly balanced and in time exactly with my leg that's moving the same distance in front, the same distance behind. So make sure that is crisp before you move on. This is where you're going to spend most of your time learning the movement. So this is your slow motion box kipping pull-up, where you're going to move through the entire movement, but at a snail's pace, and really get your body to understand exactly where it should be. So I'm actually going to go back to start. I started with my chin above the bar. I pushed away from the bar and created a C shape on the way down. And as I was doing that, my leg is out in front in the hollow body position. See how long my leg stays in the hollow? It only breaks into the arch now as I literally am passing in front of the rig. So as you're coming down away from the bar, you want to push like straight out away from you. Draw a C shape. Your arms are going to come straight. And as they're passing underneath your bar and your body is directly underneath it, that is when your foot is underneath you as well. So you're in a straight line, and only from there forwards in front of the bar do you push into your arch position where your legs go behind you. As soon as you've hit your arch, you go back into your hollow. So kick your leg back through, pull the rest of your body backwards, and you're holding that hollow position with your foot out in front and your body in a curved dish all the way up to the top of the bar, all the way down from the top of the bar, and you only kick into that arch when you're back in front of it. So this is what I mean by you're in a hollow position for the majority of the movement, and it's where athletes go wrong. So practice in slow motion, arch, everything hollow, 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 arch, hollow the whole time, still in my hollow, arch, hollow, up, hollow, down, arch. Okay, take your time here. It's confusing, and sometimes your leg doesn't know what it's doing in relation to your body. And if you do get to that stage, just revert back to this box kip so that you've gone over. If my chest is in front, my leg is behind. If my chest is backwards, my leg is in front. It's useful to have these two drills together. Once you've nailed this and you feel like you really understand when your body is meant to be behind the bar and when it's meant to be in front of the bar, then we can start to do it at real speed. And when you do it at real speed, you'll add in a little jump on the box. As you just go up to the top, it just makes the movement a bit smoother. So this is me doing real speed, and then this was the slow motion version. Don't try and progress onto the real speed one until you've sorted out the slow-mo one and your leg has figured out how long it needs to spend in front of your body pointed down towards the floor. Okay, hopefully all this is making sense. Once you've got that, now we actually need to build strength. So as soon as your body has understood the positions of the kipping pull-up, you've got it into your system of how long you need to be in the hollow, what it feels like to push away from the bar on the way down, and how quick and aggressive the arch is underneath. Once your body has fully understood all of that, we now need to make you strong and confident without the support so that we can build volume in the future. The best way we're going to do this is by doing paused reps at the top of the bar. And this is also going to help you to maintain rhythm, because when you first start to learn a kipping pull-up and you first start to try and link two together, normally the second rep is crazy because your body hasn't quite got the tension it requires at the top of the bar to reset before you push back into the next one. Normally, because it's a bit of a fight to get up on your very first rep that you do, when you hit the top, your body isn't in that perfect hollow position anymore. It's come out of it. And then when you push away and you try and go into the next rep because you weren't in the correct position at the start, the next rep gets messed up. If you do these pause drills, this is really going to help you build strength so that you can build volume, but also build positional awareness above the rig. So using the box again, box is your best friend in this drill. You're going to do the same movement we just did, but you're going to pause at the top. 2 or 3 seconds. It's going to build heaps of strength in your biceps, heaps of strength in your lats. And your body's going to understand what it feels like and the position it needs to be in before it can push away. Once you've got good at this one, we're going to make it harder and you're going to add bands. So when you're doing kipping pull-ups, I would advise doing 2 bands of the same strength, cross them from opposite ends of the rig underneath your feet. I would go either a medium band or a light band. If you're having to use thick bands, you're probably not ready yet. So this is a medium band and I won't go any heavier than this. I actually find these much more difficult with the medium band than I did with the light band when I've been doing them. Okay, so we're up at the top, we're pausing, we push away, little arch, push away, little arch. You'll find when you're using bands, particularly if they are medium, like this one, that you won't be able to do a very big kip swing because the bands are going to be holding you in the center, which is why you don't want to go any heavier than this because you won't get any movement at all. Once you're happy, then we can start to do banded kipping pull-ups. Most people will go straight in for a banded pull-up, and because they don't spend any time doing these paused reps, they don't build any strength, and it takes absolutely ages for them to build any volume through their pull-up. By adding this pause component here, you can build volume very quickly. This is just a normal banded kipping pull-up. Much easier to do with lighter bands, in my opinion. Okay. So last little piece of the puzzle, when you are doing kipping pull-ups and you're trying to build volume from 1 to 2 to 5 to 10 reps, you want to be doing small little EMOMs or go every 30 seconds or go every 45 seconds and just building up your volume. So maybe I would start with 2 reps, going every minute for 10 minutes, build that up to 3 reps to 4 reps, and then maybe drop the time down. So go back to your 2 reps, but go every 30 seconds instead. So you're taking down your rest period. And you just want to gradually over time build up the amount of volume you can do in a set time period and increase the number of reps you can do overall in one set. And if you're struggling with this movement and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I will never get it, just want to give you a little bit of motivation from athletes I've been coaching in this movement. It's actually, once you spend the time doing the drills that I've gone through in this video, I think the kipping pull-up is one of the easier movements to get, because as soon as your body's understood the positional awareness, which is relatively easy to do when you use a box, and once you spend a little bit of time building the strength, which again is pretty easy to do with those paused reps, you'll find the movement clicks very quickly. All of these athletes got this skill pretty fast, and that's a common thing I find with this movement. So if you are struggling for whatever reason, you feel like it's taking you longer than it should, please just send me a message on Instagram, and I'm very happy to discuss where you might be going wrong. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped as always.